Well, we are in a suburb in Illinois,
Okay.
about 35 west of Chicago.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, this is where we work and play.
Yeah. A lot of people think we're from California. I think it's the coconut oil thing.
Coconut oil thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, we're here. It just, the weather's getting nice finally. Oh,
Yeah. We're having a warm day. Thank God.
Yeah.
Coming up, Susan Thixton
Yep.
in Florida, she does not do cold.
yeah.
And she's like, Lori, if it's going to be 50 degrees there, and I'm like, 50 would be great for now.
Yeah.
Oh, spring. We're actually going to hit 60, I think.
Oh,
wow.
For the weekend, for the event?
At least for Friday. So for
that's
everybody coming in.
Good.
The last time she was here, we had a snowstorm.
Oh my gosh.
And she left early. She could not cope.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We already have 16 people on. Hey, Jay.
Yay. Oh.
Diane and Janet.
Ooh,
And
Janet and Diane.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. This is our final Facebook Live before the Healthy Dog Expo.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. I haven't seen my living room in months. Boxes everywhere. These amazing ladies, Charisa and Carmina from CocoTherapy, sent me all this amazing stuff. And it's going in the raffle baskets. It's going in the gift bags. It's just unbelievable. And I will confess, my dogs broke into the other one of these. You would have thought it was $1 million lottery tickets. They're like, we'll sit, we'll lie down, we'll sit up, we'll jump on you, we'll back up.
Yeah.
They were over the moon for them. So I don't know what you put in them besides coconut, but guys, get the treats because they are the bomb.
They smell good too. I don't know if you've smelled macaroons. They're human grade, completely human grade. So
yeah. All of your ingredients are human quality.
Yeah.
Generally GMO free.
Yes. All the meats are,
they're non-GMO verified and USDA organic certified.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So let me give you just a minute to tell us all, how'd you get in the coconut business?
Okay, I guess I'll start.
Well,
it's a family business. 3 generations ago, my grandpa started it. And on both sides of the family, my mom's side of the family, dad's side of the family, we had coconut farms. We made coconut oil. We used to watch her make it in the kitchen when we were growing up, when we were little kids. So it was just part of
our life.
I
think we took it for granted.
Yeah.
Like you always do.
Yeah. And then my grandmother used it for everything for us. If we had like any health conditions, we had lice, dry skin, stomach ache, everything, she'd always give us coconut oil. And we used to hate it.
We used to run around smelling like coconut
oil. We used to think she was insane, but hey, it worked. And same with our animals. We lived in a farm. So all the farmers, they had cattle, pigs, chickens, goats. So we would give them a lot of the scraps, like the coconut oil meat, and we'd give them a bunch of coconut
and they were very healthy.
And they thrived on it. They thrived on it. And a lot of veterinarians back in the Philippines, they weren't sophisticated with antibiotics, viral medications. I mean, they literally prescribed coconut oil for everything.
Yeah, ear infection, go clean your dog's ears.
Coconut oil. I mean, viral infection, give it coconut oil. Diarrhea, constipation, give it coconut.
And it worked. It really helped.
It's just something that we grew up with. So
that's so cool. So cool. And like you say, we take some of these things, girls, they love to participate. And I know it's inevitable at some point during this broadcast, UPS will ring my doorbell.
Oh,
something coming from BJ's Raw Foods today.
Oh, cool.
And they're coming to the expo.
Oh, wow.
We're jealous.
Yeah.
We wish we could go, but
next year, because you're heading off to global. You're going.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, that will be important too.
Yeah.
So tell me, nuts and bolts. I think a lot of people don't really understand coconut oil and what it is and why it can be so beneficial. So can you give us just the nuts and bolts basics of what is it, what kind of fat, what does it do, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Well, coconut oil, as a lot of people know, is a saturated fat. but we call it a medium chain saturated fat. So it's processed by the body differently. There are saturated fats like meat and butter. Those are long chain fats. So their carbon atoms are 18 carbon atoms or longer. So they're processed very differently by the body. They need bile acids. They need pancreatic lipase to be broken down, that kind of thing. But for coconut oil, it being a medium chain fat, which is 12 carbon atoms or lower, it's processed so differently. It doesn't need chylomicrons for transportation. It does not need bile acids for emulsification. It goes straight through the portal vein to the liver. And in the liver, it's converted to ketones and energy. So it's used very differently. It doesn't go through the systemic lymph system. It doesn't go to the heart and cause atherosclerosis or, so it's a wonderful fat. And the best thing about coconut oil, it being saturated, is it's not prone to oxidation or peroxidation. So
and that's a huge concern with what
it's huge. It's real, it's big. And so it's an excellent oil for dogs with inflammation, with compromised immune system, because the oil will not oxidize.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know, does that answer the question? It's just metabolized very differently.
I think the reason why people are confused with coconut oil is because it's a vegetable oil. Most saturated fats are from meat. So people are confused, and saturated fats has always had a bad name, because it's bad for people. Although animals, dogs and cats, can eat lots of saturated fat and not get sick as like people would.
Yeah.
Right.
But they don't understand that. So they listen to what they say in the human side, where saturated fats are bad for you. So that it's just gotten
kind of
bad
a cross thing, like saturated bad. So it's bad for our pets.
Yeah. And everybody pushes unsaturated fats like olive oil or fish oil or polyunsaturated fats or monounsaturated fats, which they're good for you. However, they highly they go rancid.
Yeah, the fats
very unstable.
Yeah, the fats most likely to peroxidize are unsaturated fats. Which is why we have to refrigerate our fish oil and our olive oil and keep it away from light. I mean, as soon as you open up a bottle of olive oil or any of those oils,
fish oil,
it already starts to oxidize.
The minute it hits oxygen.
So,
but I think what people just need to understand. Oh, you know what? Like 20 years ago, when we brought coconut oil here to the Philippines, it wasn't like a fad. People think it's a fad. In the United States, it might have been a fad, but in the countries where they use a lot of coconut oil, like the Philippines, it's a staple.
It's a staple, yeah.
It's a staple. So with coconut oil, a lot of when we used to talk to a lot of veterinarians and doctors, even they would refer to coconut oil as an omega-9.
Really?
A long time ago.
Yes, because it being a vegetable fat, they didn't know.
Yeah, it is unique because, in dog nutrition, we talk about plant origin ingredients not being as available to the dog as animal origin. But this is an exception to that rule.
It is.
Yeah.
But absorption, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if you, people stop and think about it, mother's milk, mammal's milk is about 60% saturated fats, and a lot of it is medium chain fat. Sometimes they call mother's milk like the Capra milk because it has a capric, caprylic, and lauric acids, and it's the milk that helps build an immune system. So when infants and puppies drink mother's milk, it's a good thing because it trains their immune system. The lauric acid will actually kill certain bad bacteria. So there's like killed exotoxins or endotoxins in the blood. The body recognizes it and says, "Oh, and it'll might mount a very small immune defense." But then it's training a puppy or a kitten or baby to recognize these things and build a stronger, the invaders, and build a stronger immune system. So it's very present in milk.
Yeah, and again, like thinking of an infant being easily digested or absorbed, not requiring so many enzymes. That's a huge benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a quick question from Jeannie, which I'll put on the screen. She's brand new to coconut oil. So if someone were using your regular coconut oil, how much would they give, say, a 30-pound dog?
Yeah. Well, 30-pound dog would get about a tablespoon because typically what we say it's a teaspoon for 10 pounds.
Okay.
But I mean, if you've never had a dog that's had coconut oil, I don't recommend doing it right away. You really, really have to start slow. Because if they're not used to it, then they could get detoxification effects, because coconut oil kills virus, bacteria, and fungi. So that viral die-off, bacterial die-off can make your dog feel sick. I mean, they can get diarrhea. So if you've never had a dog eat it, what we always say is it's not a drug. So take it to the dog's oral
maximum
tolerance. So if a dog can handle a little more, give them a little more. If it can't handle that much, give it a little less.
And it never hurts to start gently with any new ingredient in their diet.
Yeah,
always. Always, definitely.
And all dogs are different. They're not the same. I had 2 Yorkies, exact same size, same weight. One could eat a little bit more than the other. Like I'd give the other one less because her coat would start looking greasy. The other one could take more. So even with the same dogs and breeds, it's very different.
You know, have you heard of Dr. Mark Morris? He's a PhD zoologist, and he was the guy that coined the term biologically appropriate food for animals. And he had this experiment where he had like wild wolves and domesticated dogs, where he had carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Right. So these are macronutrients. And then the animals, and he just let them forage,
to see
eat whatever they
like
want.
The best.
Yeah. He had a study, I think you could look it up. And he found that a lot of the domesticated dogs and even wolves would gorge on fat. So he let them instinctively choose what they wanted to eat. They would gorge on fat until they were full and they felt like a brain, they fed their brains, and then they would eat protein. And then lastly, they would eat carbs. So, I mean, for him, when he wrote the term, when he coined the term biologically appropriate food, he was talking about macronutrients. So for us, fat being an important macronutrient, like animals can't survive without fat, neither can humans. But I think people are so afraid of fat, the fact that everybody has to go on a low fat diet, for people. So they kind of project that on their animals. They think fat's going to make them sick. They're going to get pancreatitis. But animals are so different from people. They are just naturally have the higher ability to digest fat. Cats and dogs especially, compared to people, because cats and dogs have higher HDL levels in their blood than LDL levels in their blood. I mean, the amount of fat they ate, if we ate that amount of fat, our blood would be in trouble. We would be into trouble.
Although I do love fat. I eat a lot of fat, and
me too. We eat a lot of fat.
But are you doing a ketogenic diet? Or
we keto cycle.
We keto cycle because we feel like ketogenic diets are unsustainable when you do it long term. So we would go in it for 7 to 12 days. 15 days, and then we take a break, and we also do intermittent fasting. But
that's so good.
Our bodies are so used to using fat as a source of energy as opposed to carbs. And that's what a ketogenic diet is. And as a matter of fact, I highly believe that dogs intrinsically, just the way they're made biologically, they do very well.
Basic keto.
Basic ketogenic diets. Because my dog Fiona, she's healthy. She doesn't have cancer. She doesn't have seizures, but she's on a natural ketogenic diet. She takes about 69% fat in her diet, and 30% protein in her diet, 1% carbs. And that's what she does on a normal basis. And she doesn't have cancer. So when you start though, you don't do it right away. You have to work slowly.
I think if people are thinking about putting their dogs on a ketogenic diet, I think it helps to decide why. Do they want it for maintenance, or do they have some sort of chronic disease, or is it seizures? Because there's 3 plans you can put them on, and then you kind of work your way up. For that, for Fiona, you're just on the basic health plan,
basic plan for Fiona is 69% fat, and then 30 protein, 1% carbs.
And then plan B, which we call it, for dogs that have cancer or some inflammatory issues. So you go up a little bit higher on the fat. So it would be
82% fat. 82% fat and 17% protein and 1% carbs. And then for dogs with seizures,
that's where you go.
That's
even
where you go
higher.
the highest. That would be the highest, most strict ketogenic diet level. That would be 80% fat, 12% protein, 1% carbs. Back in 1920s and 1930s, where they gave ketogenic diets to kids and animals, that was the only cure they had for seizures.
Right.
And
do you want to give a 5-year-old kid who's sadly having seizures a whole bunch of drugs?
No. Yeah. But I think in the 1950s and 60s, when they came up with seizure medication, that's when they stopped the whole ketogenic diet, which is sad because that was considered the cure back then for.
And I have epileptic dogs on ketogenic diets and they do great. We've cut their seizure meds down or taken them off.
And I think the best thing about coconut oil or saturated fats, especially the raw fats that our dogs eat, is they don't oxidize. They're so good for the body. And actually our muscles use saturated fats for energy. So it's literally a really healthy fat to give.
Well, and I think of the dogs eating kibble that are eating 40% carbs. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's no wonder they are.
Oh my gosh.
There's so many health challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, even, our basic, AFCO or NRC, formulated to a standard raw diet, it's going to have up to 10% carbs in it, but that's nowhere near the 40 and 50 that some of these kibbles have.
Yeah.
Exactly. And kibble too, they coat it with fat, chicken fat or whatever fat to make it palatable.
And it's rancid before it leaves the factory.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. There's a study too about coconut oil. Did you see that study about coconut oil that kills bacteria on kibble? It was fascinating.
Oh, no.
You have to put that.
I typed it here.
Well, afterward, we'll put it in the comments, guys.
It's fascinating.
That is. We had a question before about should we give coconut oil away from the time of probiotics? I'm just scrolling back to see.
Oh, no.
Oh, no?
You don't have to.
You don't? Okay.
That is a fallacy. Yeah, you don't have to separate probiotics because they think that coconut oil kills bacteria in the gut. It really targets gram-negative bacteria. It doesn't kill the positive bacteria. So you don't have to separate the two. It's not like an antibiotic.
Good. And there was a quick product question here from Charity. She's only used your pumpkin ginger cookies. And she's curious, as that'll scroll, about the buckwheat flour.
Okay. So
can you tell me about your sourcing and why you chose buckwheat?
Yeah. Buckwheat flour isn't really a flour. It's not a grain. It's actually a fruit. So it's a fruit. So buckwheat flour sounds like a grain. It's grain free. It doesn't have.
It's almost like a rhubarb.
Would you say? Yeah,
like a rhubarb.
Yeah. So it's not. So you can use buckwheat flour as a grain free.
Option.
Yeah, option.
And one of the reasons why we'll use something like that is it helps when you're making a treat and you bring it to a test kitchen. It's very hard. You need some sort of thing to keep the biscuits together.
Yeah.
So, we don't want to use fake binders and a lot of other artificial stuff. So we try and test with as many natural options as we can. Yeah. And when you bake something, you need some sort of protein to keep it together.
Yeah, and buckwheat flour actually does have health benefits to it.
Yeah, so it's not a grain. Don't have to be afraid of it. Plus, I'm not afraid of grains necessarily, right?
Not
bad, but
yeah.
You just, certainly we're cautious about where we source them.
Exactly.
How much a component of the diet they are.
Yeah.
But, there are some dogs who will do better with some sort of grain or starch.
Yeah. And buckwheat flour is not even considered a starch.
No, it's considered a fruit.
It is. Yeah.
And do you use any nut flours?
No.
Just coconut.
Okay.
Coconut flour or desiccated coconut or grated coconut is what we use.
Yeah. But I agree, when you're making a treat, you want it to form a little chip or a nugget or something.
Yeah.
That you can toss to the dog.
Yeah. There's always a balance of it looking like a treat or being a sludge of mush, and you can't bake it, especially. So there's always that balance.
Well, and if you're like me, you carry them in your pocket, so you need something that's pocket friendly or treat bag friendly. It's not easy making treats.
No.
Oh, yeah.
It really isn't.
No, it's not.
Connie had a question about giving coconut oil with CBD or hemp oil.
Oh, okay.
Is there any interactions that you're aware of that would be detrimental?
No, not
In
at
fact,
all.
it's positive
Yeah,
to
and
do so together.
there's a lot of CBD hemp oil tinctures that use an MCT oil or coconut oil as a carrier oil. So
I've seen olive oil as well, which probably brings into question the oxidation.
yes, yeah, I would rather go with a coconut oil carrier. Plus, there's studies. There's this Japanese study. It has shown that lauric acid and coconut oil can actually cross blood-brain barrier.
Oh, really?
Can
Yeah, and these are all studies that we can provide later. But if you want the hemp oil or CBD to go into the brain for some reason, there's no better oil to carry it than a coconut oil, because the lauric acid can cross that.
Nice. Yeah, that would be so beneficial.
Yeah.
So I know there are different types and grades of coconut oil, whether we're talking about organic or virgin, or what are the processes of making coconut oil? And I look at the supermarket and I'm like, this coconut oil is $19.99 and this one is $5. What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean,
Huge difference.
It's almost like olive oil. You go to my gosh, you can get cheap olive oil and super expensive olive oil. But coconut oil is the same way. There's actually over a dozen varieties of coconut, which and there's over 120 ways to make coconut oil. I mean, there's just so many different ways. So and the coconut oil terminology, just briefly, just so that people understand, everybody knows the term virgin, right? Virgin coconut oil. And some people, you'll even see some coconut oil say extra virgin.
Right, like extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah, but there's no such thing.
Unfortunately, that's a marketing hype because extra virgin in olive oil means first press. So you can press olives more than once. So extra virgin means you press the olives first time, that's extra virgin. You can press them 2-3 times and then that's just virgin. But for coconut oil,
just press it once.
You can only press it once. And virgin in coconut oil means unrefined. So that's the definition of virgin: unrefined.
No hexane,
bleach,
sulfates. Oh, and very low moisture count.
Yeah.
So really quick, just for fun, for people who want to know how to make coconut oil, like if you want to make it yourself, get a coconut. It's not the water, it's the meat. So you have to grate the meat out and then you squeeze it. So you squeeze the milk from the meat and then you let it sit, and then the oil will go to the top,
float to the top.
And then that's the oil. So it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So the differences between the really cheap coconut oil and the more expensive one is probably the wet mill or the dry mill. So you can actually scrape or grate that coconut, then you dry it out. You grate it, you put it in sacks, and then when you're ready to make the oil, you reconstitute it
with water.
Yeah. So that's what makes probably some of the less expensive brands, because it's reconstituted. You add water to it to get the thing out. Whereas fresh milled, it's wet, very hard to make. Coconut spoils,
super fast.
So you kind of have to press it. It ferments. That's why they make a lot of coconut wine in the Philippines.
So once you grate it, you have to press it immediately. So that's called wet milled. When you make it from dry coconut, it's called copra. So
we obviously,
and that would be the less expensive way to make it, is when you make it from copra. And then a lot of people further refine it because they need to. It's called Rbd oil, refined, bleached, and deodorized, which we don't do. So if you do Rbd oil, because you're using a lot of solvents and hexanes and bleach to
you got to take out a lot of the things that happen, the mycotoxins that happen when on the dried coconut.
Sure.
And
they store a lot of that coconut for months, like in sacks. And then when they're ready to make it into oil, that's when they rehydrate it in water. Then they have to clean it out and filter it with bleach and hexanes and just to purify it a little. So that's called Rbd oil, which you don't want. But unfortunately, in the coconut oil industry, the term virgin is not regulated. It's not regulated by the USDA or FDA. So anybody can put virgin on a bottle of coconut oil, even though it has been refined. So that's the sad part. You really have to know where the coconut oil comes from.
Mhm.
And the other thing too is the term organic. So if you look for the organic seal in coconut oil, which ours is organic, people don't know that for USDA standards for coconut oil, for agriculture USDA standards, as long as 10% of the coconuts used are organic, you can actually
90%.
Oh, sorry.
90%. Yeah.
10% they allow non-organic.
Yes. 90%
Really
is
bad.
organic, and then 10% is not organic. You still can have that organic seal. So a lot of people don't know that, and meaning it's got fertilizers and pesticides, hexane and bleach. So they're not all the same. The quality isn't the same. Then the other thing is cold press. A lot of people say raw cold press. Look for that on the label. That's also important. However, it's not regulated. It's not regulated either. Most coconut oil, the inexpensive kind, is made from expeller pressed coconut oil. So expeller pressing actually generates heat up to 250 degrees to 300 Fahrenheit. So
that's all cooked.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not raw.
Yeah, so they expeller press it because they can get more oil.
Right.
You know, they can
instead of
machine
press,
and then they cool it after they've pressed it.
Yeah.
So that's why they say, oh, it's
and they generate heat too, so that it separates the oil from the milk a lot faster, and they can get more oil. So expeller pressed oil can also be called cold pressed, because anybody or raw. So you really need to know what you're getting. Yeah.
That's crazy. And what about the term unrefined?
Unrefined is the same as virgin.
Okay.
So
and unregulated, I imagine.
It's not regulated again, but unrefined, and you want unrefined, you want virgin. You don't want it to be subjected to chemicals or bleach or hexane or solvents.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Marissa says, so how do we decide? By price? I would expect that price alone is not a good indicator, because some people jack up the price.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously people say, oh, you get what you pay for.
There's some truth to it.
But there's also marketers out there who really know how to take advantage of a great label and jack it up a little bit.
But if you do get coconut oil, like in a big giant tub that's plastic and it's $5.99,
you should probably think
twice, because half of it's probably refined coconut oil. They can kind of mix it together. So yes, price does determine a little bit, but again, like you said, people can just jack up the price.
If you're really curious, I suggest you write the company and ask them for their certificate of analysis
and certificate of compliance, both.
For both, so that and they should list out their medium chain fatty acid levels individually. We have it for every batch. We have a lot number in every bottle.
Yeah.
So for every single batch that we have and every lot number, we actually have all the medium chain fatty acid levels. A breakdown, and then we test it for rancidity, like meaning we have every lot for at least 5 years, so we can always trace it back to see how the oil's doing. So ask for that, and hopefully they can.
Yeah, well, see, here's the problem. There's actually different kinds of coconut oil, right? They have cooking grade oil, they have cosmetic grade oil, and therapeutic grade oil. A lot of people don't know that. So for cosmetic grade oil, they use that for shampoo, soap, because it's a lot of that is refined oil, Rbd oil, when they use it for cosmetic. Now, for cooking grade oil, a lot of it can be partially refined or refined oil. Sometimes they'll use virgin coconut oil, but we don't know the level of how it's virgin or how it's unrefined. And then when you have a therapeutic grade oil, those are the oils that a lot of people use in nutraceutical and pharmaceutical companies as ingredients for premature preemie baby milk, or lauric acid pills, so those are more of the therapeutic grade, because the levels of lauric, acrylic, and capric acid has to be at a certain level, and the level of moisture has to be lower as well. So those are the 3 different types of coconut oil, and people use it very generally. Coconut oil, it's not all coconut, it's not the same grade. So really the best thing to do, I would think, is to call the company and ask them for a certificate of analysis, ask them for the fatty acid breakdown. You want to know how much lauric, acrylic, capric acid, and mystric acid. There's all kinds of acids in coconut oil. You need to ask for that, and how it's processed as well. So that's important.
Yeah, definitely. And our friend Banjo here asks about MCT oil. So let's dive over to your MCT oil product.
Okay, cool. Love MCT
Do I
oil.
still have it here? Yes. I'm making gift baskets, so you were so generous.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Well,
it.
you're going to make some person at the expo very happy.
Yeah, you know why? Because we're sold out. So whoever gets that is
Okay.
really
This will be raffled off to the highest bidder.
Really keep it. No,
yeah,
I'm kidding.
because it's just so. I mean, with the supply chain issues, it's
Yes.
so
Hopefully
Yeah.
by the end of March. I mean,
Hopefully.
we literally
I don't know.
have, what do we have? Do we have like 7 or 10 barrels? We don't have the bottles. It's the glass bottles. Would you believe those tall glass bottles come from Italy?
Oh my God. Well, they do look kind of olive oil-ish.
Yeah.
They're very attractive.
Oh, thank you. Well, we don't want to source anything from China.
Right.
So even our bottles, believe it or
It's
not.
so hard.
So we get our
It's
bottles from
so
Italy.
hard.
But okay, in terms of our MCT oil is different. MCT means it has higher levels of medium chain triglycerides than virgin coconut oil. Because virgin coconut oil has about 64% medium chain, and the rest are
Long chain.
Long
37% long chain.
long chain fatty acids. Now, MCT oil has 93, at least ours, has about 93 or is it 94% medium chain fatty acids, and the rest, and very small amount of long chain. And a lot of people use MCT oil because they want the concentration of caprylic, capric, and lauric really high. But MCT oil has a higher level of caprylic and capric acid compared to virgin coconut oil. Virgin coconut oil has a higher level of lauric acid. So you would use them differently according to your needs.
So the 3 medium chain fatty acids that Carmina talked about, capric, caprylic, and lauric, they also have different carbon chains. So they have their different lengths. So capric and caprylic are smaller than lauric.
In terms of molecular
structure.
size.
So when you eat MCT oil, it gets converted to ketones very quickly. So your blood
Because they're
ketone
small.
level is elevated in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But very quickly.
Very quickly.
But then after 3 hours, it's basically
used up
and
and burnt up.
whereas lauric acid is increases your blood ketone levels a little bit longer, about 3 hours, and then but it stays in your system about
Longer,
8 hours. 8 hours. So a lot of the MCT oils you can buy there for people, if you notice, if you look at the label, they don't put lauric acid in it.
Isn't there a lot of debate over whether lauric really is medium chain? Or
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
right on the line, isn't it?
Yes. Well,
That
here's the
is-
thing. Coconut oil has 10 different kinds of medium chain fatty acids. 10. So it's not just the 3 we talk about. So when somebody eats coconut oil, there really is very minimal chylomicron activity. The
Fat transporters.
right? But there will be some because there's also some long chain fats in coconut oil. So the thing is, the hands down is the American Oil Chemist Society. They studied lauric acid inside and outside and saw how it's assimilated. And their verdict is it's a medium chain fat.
The way it's metabolized, and when they actually when they check the triglycerides in the blood, they check the ketone levels, they have classified it as a medium chain fatty acid.
And so we don't go against the American Oil Chemist Society.
And
we listen to those PhDs.
yes, especially when they're biochemistry lipid experts, and that's all they do. Plus, we also have an advisor in the Philippines, Dr. Dayret. He's actually pretty famous. He's written 2 books. His father was a cardiologist. And he is also a biochemist, and he also specializes in lipids. He has done so many tests and studies on the way lauric acid is metabolized in the body. It converts to monoglyceride, monolaurin, and that's the antibacterial part. And the way it actually bypasses the lipase, the chylomicrons, it goes straight to the liver and converts to ketones. They can actually really measure that. So which is why there's several studies out there that say that it is a medium chain fat.
Yeah.
That's
Good.
a question.
Good answer.
Yeah. Because there's so much fear about it.
Yeah. And fear and people marketing different stuff and saying, well, they're lying to you. And it's like, come on, people.
Yeah.
Just explain your science.
Yeah.
Tell us why you believe what you believe. Just what you did.
Right.
then we'll make our choices.
And they can look it up. They don't have to take our word for it.
Exactly. Yeah, when you can provide the references and everything.
Yeah, we have a lot.
But the problem is people are afraid long chain fats aren't bad either. Like animals can eat long chain fats, which is
saturated fats are the best. I
love saturated. It's gotten such a bad rap. I think. Well, for people, I guess it can. It is arteriogenic. It can clog arteries. That's true. But for animals too, they're so afraid of pancreatitis. But frankly, what's really dangerous is the oxidized and rancid fats. Peroxidized lipids are
unsaturated fats. Really bad. Bad.
And to think of them eating that every day off of fat coated kibble.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it makes me so sad.
Yeah. It causes so much inflammation. It's really the precursor for all diseases.
I think I saw, was it Banjo's quick question about his MCT oil? He asked if it was made out of refined oil. It's not. Ours isn't. I can't speak for the others, because MCT oil basically is a fractionated oil, meaning you take apart the
medium chain,
all the different medium chain fats, and then you can. But the way we do it, we do it by hydrolysis. So we distill it, very slow process, very gentle, and we don't use solvents to separate it. So it just depends on the brand of MCT oil, but it shouldn't be refined.
Well, you know why he says it's refined? Because if you buy MCT oil in a grocery store, like in a health food store, if you smell it, it doesn't smell like coconuts or taste like coconut. It says odorless and tastes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Have you seen that? That's refined.
So
that's when they take the coconut odor out.
Yes. That's refined. Now, the MCT oil that we have, if you smell it and taste it, it still has the smell and taste of coconut oil. It's not
gentle.
It's not quite as strong as the virgin coconut oil, but it's because it's unrefined. That's a huge difference between ours and the refined.
Some of the others.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this before we came on. Dogs with liver issues, dogs with kidney issues, and the protein losing
PLE, protein losing enteropathy. Yeah.
And what am I? I'm drawing a blank. Pancreatic enzyme, PEI. Pancreatic enzyme deficiency.
Yeah.
Where we have these dogs that we must supply the enzymes for so they can properly process fats.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it seems like MCT oil and coconut oil would be an ideal fat.
It is. It is.
It really is. At the risk of sounding like snake oil or it cures everything, it really is, because we've been pet owners for so long. Had kidney issues, been there, done that, for so many dogs. Liver issues, PLE, Yorkie. So literally,
cat with pancreatitis.
I would say what really saved them and helped them thrive was the coconut oil. So don't be afraid of it, because it's metabolized so differently, and they need the fat for energy, and they need the fat for brain. Like 60% of our cell membrane is fat. So unsaturated fat.
Nervous system tissue is mostly fat.
Yeah. So if you can't give it to them because they have to be in a low fat diet for whatever reason, you really have to give them some
kind of fat.
So coconut oil is standing for that.
Yeah.
And we know, raw fats are better for these dogs than cooked. But not everybody is going to be able to go to a raw diet. And cooked fats are probably about the worst thing you can give, certainly to a dog with pancreatitis.
Yes. So we recommend is, if you do have a dog that does have to eat a lightly cooked diet because they can't tolerate raw for some reason, we really suggest using a very lean meat.
Yes.
So that there's no animal fat that you're going to break down and turn rancid.
Then cook it gently and then add
the coconut oil. Or you can actually cook with coconut oil, because it doesn't break down. The reason why did we go into this? The reason why saturated fats are so stable is because they're saturated with hydrogen atoms.
Right.
So they're single bonds. They don't break.
Yeah.
And they don't.
The whole chain is just hydrogen.
Right.
Yes.
But back in the 60s, they used to hydrogenate fat and coconut just to make it more stable. So if you see on a package of cookies, it says hydrogenated fat, do not touch it. That's so bad for you.
And I want to say they were hydrogenating like Crisco.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
or margarines, a
Yeah.
shortening or margarine product.
Yeah, because you
Or
can keep it
even
in your
partially hydrogenated, olive oil or something.
Yeah.
I mean, those things you keep in your pantry forever. Doesn't Crisco last for like years and years in your pantry or something? You don't know.
But the reason why they hydrogenate it is because they add hydrogen atoms to it
Sure.
just to make it more
stable.
stable.
Yeah.
That is extremely bad for you and animals. So,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I probably still have, I don't bake as much. And I probably still have a small thing of Crisco that outdated, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, and
probably
a while back, somebody was asking about your coconut chips.
Oh,
They had some that were left and they had expired and they were concerned, could they use them past the expiration date? I know technically you have to say no.
yeah.
Yeah.
What has your research shown in terms of the stability of them?
Our chips are very stable. We always say, because I use my chips past the expiration date, or if they're short dated at the warehouse, of course we'll take them, right? And our chips, when we cold press them, we'll leave some oil in it. We don't defat them. So there's still some coconut oil in them. So it makes it very stable. I always tell people, as long as it's kept in a dry place, you don't stick a wet spoon in there and stir it around, because moisture is going to breed bacteria and whatever, and mold. So as long as it's being kept in an airtight, you can go a good 6 months, even a year. I've gone a year, but
the
it's
expiration date.
Yeah.
But of course, we're not going to tell you to do that, but we do it.
And it might not be as crispy. It might be a little bit softer.
Yeah.
But
it
still
hasn't
pretty
harmed,
solid.
any of our animals for
Good
that.
to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
And I think the final thing we need to contrast for people is the difference between, we kind of touched on this, omega-3 fatty acids and medium chain triglycerides or medium chain fatty acids, because there are still people who think, oh, my dog is short in omega-3s, let me add some coconut oil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
for
totally
sure.
different.
Sure. Yeah. All omega fats 3, 6, and 9 are all unsaturated. So they're missing. And the reason why they're called omega 3, 6, and 9 is because if you look at their carbon chain, if it's an omega 3 at the end of the third carbon, that's where they're missing their hydrogen atom. So it's an omega 3. So if you look at an omega 6, you count 6 in from the end. From the 6 carbon atom, they're missing their hydrogen atom. So that's an omega 6. So that's how, so they are unsaturated and they are prone to oxidation. Of course, omega 3 is very healthy. They have a lot of good benefits, like the fish oil. You just have to take care of your omega 3 when you get it. And it helps soothe the brain. It helps feed the brain. It converts to phosphatidylserine, which helps.
It's neurotransmitter. It fires up your brain.
Yeah.
So even though they have benefits to both, like for example, coconut oil also helps the brain. It feeds the brain because it feeds ketones, which is a protein in your brain. It actually prevents the amyloid plaque from forming in your brain. So it also helps with inflammation. So they help in different ways.
But there are 2 different
types of oil. But we do like to rotate between fish oil and coconut oil. We're always for rotation, and because they do work and they are metabolized in the body in totally different ways. There are differences to their benefits. My thing about fish oil is I'm so sensitive to oxidized oils. Fish oil, I'll buy the smallest bottle.
Buy a small bottle of olive oil or fish oil or whatever, so it doesn't oxidize. Don't go for the big jar.
Any unsaturated fat, whether it's polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, we really recommend buying the smallest bottle. The minute it hits oxygen, it starts to
and keeping refrigerated, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Keep refrigerated, but it's still the oxygen that gets it. But it does help. The refrigeration helps.
Yeah. So all omega 3s outstanding. I don't really recommend, at least for my animals, I don't really supplement them with omega 6.
Me neither. There's enough in our chicken and our other meats,
eggs and everything. Yeah, there's no need. And I think for people, our ratio of 6 to 3 is horrific. Like we eat so much 6. No wonder we have all these chronic inflammation. That's like 20 to 1. It should be 1 to 1 or 2 to 1, omega 6 to 3. And like people are like 20 to 1 or whatever. Crazy.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I see my friend Nate says hi.
Oh, hi, Nate.
Hey, Nate.
I haven't heard from Nate in ages. How are you, my
I
friend?
know.
Yeah.
Where has he been hiding?
I'm sure he's been keeping very busy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And you were talking about rotation, but I certainly will feed both saturated and unsaturated fats
Yep.
at
Yep.
the same time.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard to avoid it in a fresh food diet.
Of
Mhm.
course. I mean, there's nothing wrong with unsaturated fat. The key is to make sure it's not rancid or
Right.
oxidized or cooked. That's why people that cook those fats, like they give a turkey during turkey Thanksgiving, and their animal gets like a acute case
Yeah,
of pancreatitis. It's
yeah.
because the fat's been broken down.
Yeah, heated unsaturated fats is horrific.
Yeah, it's
just
really
bad
bad.
news.
Or they boil the chicken for an hour.
Oh gosh.
My gosh, let's just totally kill it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then combine it with rice to feed to your dog with the eye upset.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. Yeah.
But yeah, my rule for cooking is if you're going to cook something, a meat, shall we say,
Yeah.
it has to stay pink in the center.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You want to cook the outside and know that you've killed the bacteria.
Yeah.
That generally takes 160 degrees.
Yeah.
That's all?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they
That's all you need.
yeah, and if you're going to cook something you want to raw yet cook, don't go past 105 for the raw food.
Definitely
Right.
raw food.
Yeah, they say if you have to heat it up, don't go past 105 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if you are a bacteriophobe or you've got a dog that really can't handle it, it's really the surface of chunked meat that is the greatest risk for bacteria. It's
Right.
not in the inside.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Ground
true.
meat, that's a different story because that has been exposed to everything.
That's
Yeah.
true. And even for people when they cook for themselves, some people like, and I'm kind of guilty of this sometimes, like the burnt steak or burnt parts of the food.
Oh, we call it
Maillard
reaction.
But that's a Maillard reaction where
Philadelphia rare, I think, is the term. You grill it so it's charred on the outside, but still rare on the inside.
that's bad for you. I mean,
Well, the charred part.
The charred part is carcinogenic. That it's the Maillard effect of
Yes.
food that's been.
But
I
you
like
know,
it.
just
It's terrible.
all in moderation for us.
You can do it. You can do it occasionally. It's like
Yeah.
we can slip up with our dog's diet occasionally.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
As long as the core is right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what I push for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And people often ask us, why would you give a dog coconut oil? It's not natural. With the whole term
Natural.
biologically appropriate
Right.
diet. I mean, they don't eat it in the wild. They're not
They're
cutting
not climbing the
coconut tree and making oil. But the way I look at it, and the way we even Mark Morris was saying, really you have to make the right choices for your animals when you're choosing macronutrients. Protein, fat, and carbs are the main micronutrients.
Yeah.
So in terms of coconut oil as a fat micronutrient, we honestly think it's one of the better ones because it's the most stable. It doesn't go rancid. It nourishes the body naturally, the brain, the heart. It converts to ketones better than any other fat, which actually helps the cellular energy. It feeds the cells, the mind.
It doesn't stress the pancreas. It doesn't need
At all.
pancreatic
It's low
lipase.
stress.
The metabolic process, the pathway is very different.
So
Very
anim-
easy on the body.
Yeah.
So animals that are very lipid sensitive, that can't tolerate lipids, because I mean they do exist out there.
Sure.
Then coconut,
Coconut
they
oil's
can
really
definitely tolerate coconut oil. So that's the reason why we feel so strongly about coconut oil, other than the fact that we've grown up with it.
Right.
And
See,
seen it
it.
work with our family. But as a choice of fat when it comes to diet, that definitely is our choice, because I do put Fiona on a ketogenic diet. And that is I think even Keto Pet Sanctuary used to use coconut oil as
that's one of their preferred fats.
yes.
I think they use coconut oil
And
some specific type of butter.
butter, yeah, salted butter. Because if you go on a keto, have you been on a ketogenic diet?
Not for long.
Yeah, it's tough because you get the keto flu. What
Right.
you call it? You feel lethargic. Your arms are heavy. I mean, it's tough.
In
You have
the
to go
beginning,
slowly.
Yeah, you lose a lot of minerals.
Yeah,
'Cause you're-
because and your heart is just racing. And then and dogs can get the keto flu. So for anybody putting their animal on a ketogenic
slow.
diet, go slow. But what I really do recommend is to add a lot of water, give them a lot of water, and lightly salt the food or use a trace mineral. I use constant trace, which mineral drops, because the electrolyte imbalance is gonna really happen. The sodium, magnesium, potassium, they lose it in their urine. You'll notice if you're in a keto diet or an animalist, they go pee a lot. And that's because when carbohydrates convert to glucose and to glycogen, then that goes away, right? Because they're no longer getting energy from glycogen. So what happens is your kidneys secrete a lot of fluid when you're converting into when your body's starting to use ketones as a form of energy. So when you lose all those fluids, then you're actually losing the electrolytes and the minerals. So that's another.
Yeah, and I think in the keto pet plan, they had a very specific mineral supplement.
Oh, they do? Okay.
They do recommend something, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of my dogs get pink Himalayan sea salt.
Oh, yeah, that's
just a pinch, because that has a huge variety of minerals.
Right.
I use that too.
Yeah. So dehydration is common if you go on a keto diet, which is why it's really important. So it helps avoid a keto flu. I know there's a lot of keto commercial diets out there.
Yeah, there are. Some even are kibbles, which is mind-blowing.
Oh, you have to be careful. Some of them are not really keto. I looked at so many.
I did because of Fiona. I would do her keto myself. Yeah. I would formulate it myself. And again, this is when she's cycling. She's not on it long term.
Right.
But I do use a mix between a commercial keto and one that I make myself. But I have looked at a ton of keto diets, and
some of them are not.
I think, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of, using it as a marketing term. I know the keto pet folks were involved in the development of a commercial diet. I think it's now called Visionary.
I've used that.
It's freeze-dried or raw, I believe, right?
Yes, it is. I have used that, and it's the level 1, stage 1 with the
plan A.
It's their plan A of 69% fat and 30% protein, 1% carbs.
Yeah,
that's the one. But if you want to go to level 2 or 3 for cancer dogs or seizure dogs, then you'd have to do it yourself. And of course, always work with a veterinarian,
a nutritionist.
Yeah,
somebody who knows what they're doing in terms of
exactly. And then you do have to, and I do like to monitor their ketone levels and their glucose levels, because the glucose levels will always drop. Ketones actually are higher. You can buy those keto strips to check.
Yeah, you can do it with a simple blood glucose keto meter.
Exactly. Blood is always better, because when you use the urine strips to test urine,
after a while it lasts.
Yeah, because when you first go on a keto diet for the first week or so, there are ketones in your urine, so you will catch it on the strip. But after that, you won't. When your body learns how to use the ketones for fuel, then you won't.
They won't show up there. And it's very easy to get the drop of blood that you need for the dog.
Yeah.
And I'm big on testing, because if you're going to go through this process of putting your dog on a ketogenic diet, or supplementing their vitamin D level or their taurine or what have you, you've got to test first. You got to know where you're starting and then monitor appropriately.
Baseline.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's really key.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm just looking at the comments here. All you guys are amazing.
We didn't even touch, and I know we're running out of time, but we didn't touch. A lot of people are actually concerned about coconut oil with metabolic endotoxemia. Did we talk about that? We did, right? And causing leaky gut. That's another fallacy, or causing fatty liver disease. Yeah. There is so much information about coconut oil that but it doesn't. For 3 hours. I mean, there doesn't. There's reasons. There's reasons.
You have a lot of articles on your website, right?
We do. And we also interviewed Dr. Bruce Fife, who is a lipid expert, PhD nutritionist, and he explains why coconut oil doesn't cause metabolic endotoxemia, for those who are scared. But I mean, long story short, the lipopolysaccharides, the endotoxins that go in the blood, those are in the case of the outer case of the gram-negative bacteria. The coconut oil will kill that. The LPS is dead fragments. of that bacteria. So it goes in the blood. So the body thinks there's it'll mount a very low inflammation and get rid of it, but it's not like chronic inflammation.
Yeah.
So it's not like anything. If that's part of
The
building a
scare
strong immune system, actually.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's it.
And Beth was asking a conventional glucose meter, like for a diabetic. Yes. And you just have to know that your little machine will also test ketones, and you need to test.
Yes.
You need to know at that moment in time that blood sugar is 70 or below, and your ketones are approaching 0.3 in the US, US units.
Exactly.
Yeah, just make sure. There's a number of them that are out there do that.
Right. I do believe naturally dogs being able to, I mean, based on their type of diet, they really can handle a ketogenic diet, not full blown, but their bodies are designed for that, which is why Fiona, who's got no issues at all, she's basically on, I would say, a ketogenic style diet.
Keto, I go ketogenic or, very low carb sort of.
Exactly. Very low carbs.
Oh, so I heard something about a new puppy.
This is her new puppy.
Gosh, look at you.
She just got here like on Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm telling you, I haven't had sleep at all because she's crying. I set up a pen for her. You know how you're supposed to be strict, put a pen, 2 pads. That didn't last. Like after 20 minutes, I put a sleeping bag on the floor, and now I'm sleeping on the floor.
That's terrible. You're teaching her bad.
I can't sleep. I can't get sleep. So anybody have any great training tips out there? Please
email her, PM her.
Now, you go over to Susan Garrett's website, dogsthat.com. She has an excellent introduction to getting your puppy sleeping in your room. And she starts with the puppy in a crate, but the crate's on a chair or some sort of a secure thing. So it's right by your face. So it's the mix between they're right by you,
right,
and they're still confined so that, if they have to pee, they whine, you get up, you do the whole thing. It's a great system. Because, let's face it, in the end, she's going to be sleeping on the bed like all of our dogs.
Of course. Wait, what was her name again?
Write it down. Is she going to be in the Healthy Dog Expo?
She was supposed to. She actually can't travel right now.
Oh, okay.
So she's going to try to put together some video content and come next year.
Oh.
But her website is dogsthat.com.
Dogs what?
Dogs that.
Oh, okay.
Dogs that.
Yeah. Because I was telling Grace that she should crate train her, but she can't.
It breaks my heart. I mean, I know it's
this way. It's the best of both worlds.
I know.
Because just think, if she has to be at the vet or anything, I'd rather have taught her how to accept confinement than being thrown in the deep end in a stressful environment.
No, I agree. I know it's just such a softie.
All my dogs, of course, are crate trained. They ride in a crate in the car, in the van, because it's safer. They all sleep on the bed. When they prove they're worthy, they have freedom. With puppies, I have had numerous accidents on the floor. I've had a lamp cord chewed. I've had my wire coming into my house chewed.
Oh my gosh.
$1 project. Cord to my external hard drive. Numerous other stuff. And it's like, because my dogs are naughty.
Yeah.
So even if the crate just is to get them through that puppy period, I think it's essential.
Right.
But Susan's method, when there's nothing worse than a barking, whining puppy.
No.
And she
separation anxiety.
Down the steps at night when you're trying to sleep.
Yeah.
She's broken down the steps nicely.
Okay.
To do it. So dogsthat.com, I put it in there for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Ironically, she also has a dog named This. So our joke is she has this.
That's so cute. Yeah. That is cute.
Yeah, but she's amazing.
I'll check it out. It's day 3, and she's already a spoiled rotten.
Oh, well,
no. I mean,
just pampered.
Yeah, I am sleeping on the floor. I mean, oh my God, she's gonna be shocked the minute I put her in a crate tonight.
You better start now.
I know. I will.
Yeah, just get it over with.
Yeah.
It's in the end, it's just a life skill that she knows how to be confined, and then she works on her good manners to be loose.
Aww.
Yeah, exactly. Did you hear that, Shelby? Did you hear that?
You're gonna be fine. So guys, we've officially run over, as we so often do. But you guys had a surprise for everybody, right?
Oh yes.
Right.
You guys who stayed on are going to be very happy.
Yes,
Very, very happy.
we have a coupon that you can use now for, was it 15% off? And we have a lot of discounts already in the website. It'll apply on top of the discounts.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when this is the time
Put
to
in
buy.
your order for MCT oil.
Yeah.
And then get it at a deal when it's available.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seriously.
it's
It won't
called,
expire. And the coupon code is,
Coco for HDE.
wait, do you remember it?
Yeah.
Sure? Coco for,
Should I type that in?
Sure.
Okay, so it's
Coco
make sure I get it right. Coco
I'm glad you saw it.
number
for
4 and HD.
the number 4 HDE.
It'll come
and-
right up in a minute.
It won't expire, and it's a one-time use per person. And so you could use it like at the show or here and now, whenever. But
Yeah.
Yeah, on the website though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the website.
Yeah.
So 15% on top of, which is
And top of,
whatever.
yeah.
We have
that are on.
yeah, whatever's there.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for all showing up, and thank you, ladies. It's been amazing.
Well, thank you for having
us.
I'm sad we're not going to be there, though.
I am too, but you know, there's just no way with global is such a big trip and
I
a
know.
Yeah.
process.
Well, maybe next year.
Next year, I'm shooting for an April date, so hopefully
cool.
it won't conflict. We'll
Yeah.
have chances of even better weather. Life will be good.
Yeah.
Oh, and Raquel, I hope I'm saying that right, asked if you ship to Canada.
We do.
Excellent.
We do.
I
And
know I was talking to Susan Garrett about something else earlier, and I mentioned how my dogs went nuts over the macaroons.
Oh,
Okay.
you can eat them yourself too, you know.
Oh, I think it was Diane or Janet who said they had tried them all, and they
Yeah,
were
yeah. We eat them at work.
but not the raw meat ones. Don't eat those meat ones in there.
no,
Yeah.
stick to the ones like this, right? The coconut apple pie.
Yeah. You can look at the ingredients.
Anything that has no meat in it, they're
raw
all
meat,
vegan.
because
Then you
the other
could,
ones are raw. Yeah.
then you could eat those.
Jamie, I'm working on it. Jamie wants to know if I know the date yet.
Oh, for next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dates. I've learned dates at these big hotels where you can have a conference fill up so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that, you know, it's a challenge.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so let you ladies get back to work. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. It's been fun.
Great. And we will see you soon, and safe travels to Florida.
Thank you. And,
And
safe travels. to-
Well, no,
you
well,
live
to-
there. Okay. To
I'm
the
just
attendees. To
moving.
the attendees.
Yeah, get some
yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.